In a small town lived a boy known for his chronic laziness and tendency to procrastinate. Constantly falling behind on his responsibilities and urgent tasks, he found himself falling further and further behind in his studies and other areas of life compared to his friends. Despite repeated advice from his family and teachers about the importance of valuing time, he chose to ignore them, uninterested in his own future and wasting his precious moments on trivial activities. One day, a wise monk arrived in the city, famous for his wisdom and enlightenment. Many longed to meet him and absorb his lessons. Young Eric, motivated by the hope of surpassing his peers in all areas of life, also decided to seek out the monk. He met him at his abode and waited his turn patiently. When he was finally able to speak to the monk, Eric bowed reverently and expressed his desire for help, confessing himself a failure in his life and lamenting his constant disadvantage compared to others. The monk, looking at the boy with compassion, highlighted that his suffering stemmed from his inability to value time, wasting it in procrastination. To illustrate this point, the monk shared a story with young Eric, who was listening intently. There was a time when a monarch of great generosity and kindness reigned. He loved his people deeply and always went out of his way to meet their needs. On an ordinary day, he met an old classmate with whom he had shared study benches at a gurukul. This colleague, however, lived in a situation of extreme poverty and seemed to be submerged in laziness. Without a job, without financial resources, and without the slightest respect, he used to lament his fate, blaming others for his misfortunes. The king, recognizing him, expressed his sympathy and interest in knowing more about his life and difficulties. The colleague, with sadness, shared his perspective. "Oh, Your Majesty, I don't understand why everyone insists that I am incapable. Even when I try to get a job, I am rejected. My detractors spread the idea that I am incapable of carrying out any task within the stipulated time. I am lost." The king, compassionate, proposed a deal. "Before the sun sets, come to my treasury and collect as much gold and precious gems as you can. Everything will be yours." The radiant colleague thanked the king profusely and left for home to share the news with his wife. Excited by the opportunity, the wife quickly encouraged, "Go get the gold jewelry right now." However, the colleague lazily replied, "I can't go now, I'm hungry. First, I need to have lunch." The wife, without delay, prepared the meal for him. After a leisurely lunch, he felt drowsy and decided to nap briefly before heading to the treasury. However, what was supposed to be a brief rest turned into 2 hours of deep sleep. When I woke up, it was already late, and the sun was starting to set. Quickly, he hurried to grab some bags and headed towards the king's treasury. On the way, the sun shone brightly, warming the environment. He decided to rest for a while in the shade of a tree before continuing. As he settled down to rest, a gentle breeze caressed the room, giving him a pleasant sensation. However, he ended up falling asleep again, this time for another 4 hours. When he woke up, night was approaching quickly, and he realized that he had lost the opportunity given to him by the generous king. He hurriedly got up and took off running towards the palace. After a considerable period of time, he finally reached the imposing building, but regrettably, the sun had already set and the palace gates were closed, preventing him from accessing it. The lazy man stood there, disappointed in himself. He realized that he had wasted the opportunity to achieve wealth simply by not valuing his time. The master concluded his narrative and directed his gaze to young Eric. The boy was stunned, realizing his own mistake and feeling a pang of shame. Thanking the master for his guidance, he bowed humbly, determined to reform his ways. He then understood that time is a precious resource that should not be underestimated. Returning home, he began to dedicate himself diligently to his goals, abandoning procrastination and becoming more productive and successful. His transformation was reflected in his happiness and increased respect from his friends and family. Reflecting on their lives, we understand that time is as valuable as gold. It is a limited resource that we must use wisely and efficiently. We must focus our energy on activities that really matter, fulfilling our responsibilities with punctuality and quality. A famous saying highlights, "If you value your time, time will value you. But if you waste your time, it will ruin your life." Every minute is precious, as the traveler who missed the train by just a minute learned, or the student who failed his annual exams. Those who know how to value time are capable of achieving great things in their lives. On the other hand, those who waste it become victims of failure. To achieve our goals, we must avoid procrastination and laziness, for one day we may regret our lost opportunities, just like the man who did not reach the palace before nightfall. Therefore, we must use our time wisely, enjoying the precious moments with our loved ones. By doing so, we will not only achieve our dreams but also enjoy a full and fulfilling life. Did you like today's story? So help our channel by leaving a comment, subscribing and sharing with a friend who also likes this content. A hug and see you in the next story.